Hi, today I have a message called Being Present. Here is the short version. Being present and listening is enough. It is more enough than you might think it is. This resistance you are feeling will fade as you continue to look past it toward what is real. As you learn to trust everyone, everyone becomes trustworthy as a bringer and an upholder of joy. Therefore, you do not have to secure and protect joy for a separate self. You can just look steadily toward the joy that is alive behind every surface. The function of an ego thought is to distract you away from looking steadily toward the joy that is alive behind every surface. So back to being present and listening is enough. It is more enough than you might think it is. Being present. Being is always here. It's always present. It's shared, and it's what we are, and it is our joy. So it's not like I have to force a separate one called me to be present. It's more like I notice and I recognize. Being is always here. It's shared. It connects everything. It's what I am. It's what you are. And I can see being in you too. And then that would be what we'd call being present, being reminded of, being able to see with our inner vision what is actually here. And that's not perception. It's an awareness of what is actually here and how loving and joyful it is. Being present and listening is enough. It is more enough than you might think it is. So ego is going to send a lot of thoughts about how we need something more than this. And through those thoughts, when we learn to set them down and ignore them, the guilty or angry thoughts about something or someone or you or what you're doing is not enough, can come thoughts that are genuine guidance, and we start to feel the difference. One set of thoughts ultimately is just very clear, very direct, peaceful, and it has the strength of being and the joy of being in it, and there's confidence in it, and we can follow those thoughts. The other thoughts that come from obligation, guilt, anger, sacrifice, a distorted sense of responsibility that involves blaming or burdening a separate self, all that becomes recognized as garbage. And then the spirit thoughts that come in and show us the way through and out of our hallucination, those seem to be more and more different. At first, the thoughts that guide us through and out, ego is going to send a lot of thoughts to resist those thoughts, and it won't be so clear that they're joyful or they're peaceful thoughts, because what I gotta use I language, what I feel at first is the resistance of ego to these thoughts, to these strong, clear, guiding thoughts. And so that's confusing. But once I work on that by noticing how I feel, finding the thought I'm believing, setting the thought down, focusing on what is real instead of the thought I just set down over and over and over and over and over and over, and add 24 more overs again, then it becomes obvious. Through practice, it becomes obvious. These thoughts are guiding me, and they're clear, and I can follow them, and they're obvious, and they're natural, and I can trust them. And more relief comes in, and more ease comes in. So that's something I'm noticing, the ability to see the difference between an ego thought that would tell me to do or say something and a spirit thought that would tell me to do or say something. So that feels much better. This resistance you are feeling will fade as you continue to look past it toward what is real. So when the resistance comes in, and it's funny because I'll be living from multiple layers of resistance, and I'll see one, and this is how it seems. I'll let it go. And then I'll see, oh my gosh, under that is a layer of resistance I'm still living from. There it is. I can feel it. I couldn't feel it before because, I don't know, my senses were dulled. I wasn't aware of it. But now I am, so I can go to work on that let that go. Oh, here's another one. And ego could turn this into endlessness, but spirit just works steadily with us and through us with its clarity, and shows us the way. And with spirit, it's not endless. With spirit, the miracles come in to cut out whole sections of time that aren't needed anymore. So with my focus on spirit and miracles and the collapse of time and the willingness to follow and the remembrance that our will is shared, that feels like the right place. This resistance you are feeling will fade as you continue to look past it toward what is real. So what is real is always here, even when I'm feeling a feeling of resistance. When I feel resistance, I'm looking at something unreal and I'm giving it meaning and value. So we can always back away and drop it like a dog dropping a toy. We can sit, we can stay like a good dog, and then we can focus. Okay, that's what the ego had me focusing on, that past thing. Now, what is truly here? Let's take a moment for that. And the lesson I'm focusing on today is my meaningless thoughts. Oh no, I'm upset because I see a meaningless world. Not upset about anything in the world, not really. It's the fact that I'm looking at a meaningless world. Instead of what is right here that would bring me joy, I'm looking at the meaningless world and attempting to assign meaning and value to it, a pointless thing that can never bring me joy. And that's the reason for the upset. If I share this, which I probably will, in a discussion group that's based around A Course in Miracles, just for the sake of clarity, I received the outline of this message on the day, it was probably Friday, and the lesson was my thoughts do not mean anything. So meditating on that lesson inspired this outline, and now it's 2 days later, and I'm speaking from that outline today. So that's why my focus today is I am upset because I see a meaningless world. 2 lessons on from that. Maybe it's lesson 11. I don't know exactly. Maybe it's lesson 12. I think that's lesson 12 today. But yeah, if you're coming at this with a Course in Miracles lens, that may make it a little more clear for you. Okay. As you learn to trust everyone, everyone becomes trustworthy as a bringer and an upholder of joy. So imagine that. Let's look at Mr. Gavin Newsom, or who would be in opposition to him? Donald Trump. Okay, let's look at those 2 guys. just by way of example. And if you feel nothing, if there's no reactiveness or classification when you look at those 2, then maybe pick 2 who seem to be representing opposite sides of something. Now, as we look toward them, their being is shared. They have the same being, and their being is trustworthy, and their being, their shared being, brings us joy. And their shared being, because it's our being, upholds joy. Look at everything we can look past to see who they are, to allow who they are, and to allow love to extend through them. And it's not just a person thing, it's a thing. So if we're looking at things that seem to be associated with them, like presidencies and wildfires, that is the surface. That is the meaningless world I made with ego thought. I can allow love to extend through those things too, through presidencies, through flames. Love extends eternally through anything I'm perceiving, through anything I made up that I'm perceiving. And that's how everyone becomes trustworthy as a bringer and an upholder of joy. It doesn't matter what your person seems to be. It doesn't matter what the past of your person seems to be. It doesn't matter what words your person is saying or what actions your person seems to be doing. Your being can't be anything but trustworthy. And your being can't be anything but a bringer of joy. And your being can never be anything other than eternal and an upholder of joy. So isn't that the best news ever? So if I'm looking at the news, I can look through the fear I'm projecting upon the news to what is here really, something that is real, and it brings joy and upholds joy. Now, if I'm going to take any facet of the news I'm looking at and try to analyze it positively or negatively, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss the love that can extend right through it. Okay. As you learn to trust everyone, everyone becomes trustworthy as a bringer and an upholder of joy. And so what a day is for me is to run into those places where I'm not trusting. And I don't have to force my character to trust. This has been a really, really important lesson for me. I can still say the things that occur to me with clarity and kindness from Spirit, and I can do the things that come to me to do with just a natural direct. It's direct. It's not sentimental. It's very direct, and it's natural, and it's not harmful. And I can say and do those things, but I don't have to force my character to enact a sentimental Hallmark movie of trusting characters. Not that. But today, when I run into a not good feeling, I can remember the being of you, and ask that being to guide me silently, mind to mind, and let my clear instructions come from your true being and mine, because they're joined. That's what I can do. So I don't have to enact a sentimental parody of being trusting or being holy or any of that. No fakery. Just really remember what's real here. You are joy, and you're a bringer of joy, and you're an upholder of joy. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. But then we see all these other things on the surfaces of characters, and ego will judge them, especially positively and especially negatively, making you an idol if we let ego do that. But it's optional. We do not have to do that. And I find I'm happier as I decline that invitation consistently. Therefore, you do not have to secure and protect joy for a separate self. You can just look steadily toward the joy that is alive behind every surface. So what's truly alive here? Any grasping, any getting, those grasping, getting feelings don't feel good. So if I feel those today, I can stop and understand why I felt it. I felt it because I thought, if I don't get this or secure this for myself, I won't feel good. Well, I can set that down, and then I can remember I'm upset, or I felt an uncomfortable grasping or getting feeling, unsettling, because I see a meaningless world. But right behind this meaningless world is all the meaning I ever need. And it's not something that can be really articulated in ego's terms, but I can, once I see it, I can't unsee it. And I can remember it's here. So whatever it is, show me, guide me, give me words to say. If there are things I'm supposed to do, give me those things to do. I will follow. I can just reset and reset and reset. Okay, therefore you do not have to secure and protect joy for a separate self. You can just look steadily toward the joy that is alive behind every surface. I don't have to protect joy, because I am joy, and you are joy, and joy is ever present, and joy is the light shining behind everything. The only thing I have to do is let it loose and stop trying to hold it back. When I believe ego thoughts and I feel the feelings that don't feel good, that are the direct result of believing ego thoughts, those are the corks I'm putting in the joy flow. And when I learn how to uncork and set the thought down, then the joy has a chance to flow. The function of an ego thought is to distract you away from looking steadily toward the joy that is alive behind every surface. So, distractible. I can be distractible. And that's okay, Because if I have the willingness to notice how I feel, which is the only thing I'm capable of judging, so I might as well retire from trying to judge anyone or anything else in the world. The only thing I'm capable of judging in my hallucination is how I feel, but that's enough. When I've noticed that I don't feel good, I am actively blocking joy. I am shutting my eyes to what's alive behind every surface of fear that I have projected. It's okay that I'm still perceiving fear surfaces. That part's okay, because Spirit's here to lead all of us together as one through and out of our fearful projection. And by teaching us to stop projecting and to allow extension. And we're all learning this together. We don't want to leave anybody behind. So when I don't feel good today, that's the first thing I'll notice. I'll know I've believed an ego thought, and I should find it and then set it down and then rest and then put what extends love, put the extension of love in charge of whatever I perceive today, whatever I perceive myself doing or saying or not doing or saying, whatever I perceive you or anyone else doing or saying or not doing or saying. And that seems so big, but it's okay. And we're learning, and we're shown the way, and we're shown the way together. So that's the important part. Not trying to analyze anyone's progress or how anyone seems to be doing or pronounce anything or label anything. Just showing up for what's here for us today and doing our best to turn toward the guidance that's actually here for everyone. Okay, I hope that was helpful, and happy healing.